Hi, I'm Sarah Walters, Program Manager with Keep Texas Beautiful, and today I will be bringing you another activity that you can do at home with kiddos. This activity comes from the Waste in Place activity kit from Keep America Beautiful, and it's called Edible Aquifers. And this is an activity that can either be really simple or really complicated, depending on how you want to take it. But what's really fun about this is that it's edible. So before we get started, you'll need a few materials for this. So first you'll need a clear cup with some crushed ice. So that can either be a plastic cup or a glass cup, but just make sure it's clear because you'll want to be able to see through it. You'll also need some sort of like clear liquid, so that can be easy like water, Sprite, or Topo Chico, which I'll be using today. And then you'll also want some sort of colored liquid. So either you can just take food coloring to the liquid that you'll be using, like a Topo Chico, or you can use a different liquid. So I'll be using some Diet Coke today. And then you'll also want some ice cream. You won't need a whole gallon, but you'll just use whatever you have. And then you'll also want to have some fun like sprinkles that you'd put on top of ice cream, or any kind of toppings that you'd normally put on there. I don't have that around me today, so I'm going to be using something else because like I've said before, you just want to use whatever you have. You don't want to have to go out and buy extra things. Oh, and you'll also need a straw and a spoon. Extra points if you've got your reusable straws around to use. Okay, so for this activity, you'll be discussing aquifers and why it is they're so important. So first you'll want to discuss what an aquifer is. So you can just be really general about it. An aquifer is a wet underground layer of water-bearing permeable rock or unconsolidated materials like gravel, silt, sand, from which we can get groundwater from using a water well. And groundwater is one of our most valuable resources. We draw from it all the time in every community. And so if you are in the Central Texas area, you can talk about the aquifer, the Edwards Aquifer that we draw from in Austin, San Antonio, New Braunfels, San Marcos, where we get our water from. And if you're not in the Central Texas area and you use a different aquifer, maybe do a little research and find out which aquifers you use, or add that on to the research for your kiddos to do. And so from there, this is going to demonstrate what an aquifer looks like and why it's important to keep out litter from our aquifers and how they can become polluted and what we need to do in order to stop that. So first, you're going to start with your clear plastic cup or clear glass cup, whatever you're using, and put it about a third of the way to crushed ice. That is the gravel, the silt, the rock that's down in the aquifer. And then you're going to use your clear liquid, your Sprite, your water, Topo Chico, and add it in to just about right where your rocks end. So you don't want to overfill it. So just put it right there. And then you're going to add your confining layer to your aquifer. So this is what helps to hold in all of that good, precious water. And you don't need to add a whole bunch, but just make sure that it is enough to hold in all of the liquid in there. So I'm going to add just a little bit more. So this might be something you have to do for them so they don't go crazy with it, or let them do it themselves. And I'm using cookies and cream ice cream because that's what I have. The activity did suggest using just plain vanilla ice cream, and that might be better to be able to see everything. But there we go. I've added my ice cream in, and it's helping keep everything nice and safe down there. And then from there, you're going to add some of your sprinkles, your colored sugars and things on top of that. For me, I'm going to be using sesame seeds. It makes the same point. This is the litter, the trash, the things that you find on the ground that's on top of that confining layer that can seep into the ground. And then you'll add in your colored drink. So again, that can just be food coloring with the liquid you used before or a different drink. So I'm going to add a little bit on top. And you talk about how that can seep into the aquifer and how that's bad. So what could be those bad liquids? That could be some chemical spill or discarded oils that were discarded improperly, things like that, and how easily it is for them to come into the aquifer. And so how do we draw from this aquifer? We use our water wells. So by putting in your straw here, pretty good except for the sesame seeds, that's how we get our water out. And so the danger is, since we have so many communities using the Edwards Aquifer, if we were all to be drawing from it at the same time at a really quick pace, we could easily have this aquifer run out just like that. And now if you have kiddos thinking, wait a second, if we use all that water, how do we get water again? Or is that just it? Why hasn't the aquifer run out already? And then you talk about recharge. So adding in some more of your Topo Chico or rain, this is how we help to recharge the aquifer. Which is why when you hear on the news or tell the kiddos, grab the news about droughts being so bad and leading to not recharging our aquifers, this is what they're talking about. I remember hearing that a lot as a kid about the aquifer levels being low and not understanding that at all. But so simply by doing that, you can watch the water come back down into the aquifer. And then also with your water wells, sometimes it can get up that litter, those fertilizers, if they're drawing in too quickly. So ways to negate that litter is just not putting anything on the ground in the first place. So teaching why it's so important to throw your trash away in the proper places, to be recycling, to keep those things off of the ground so that way we can preserve the precious aquifer where so many of us get our water from. And so this can be that simple, just doing this little activity to demonstrate the aquifer. You can add more to it, like I said, researching aquifers in your areas, and anything like that. It can go much further than this. Obviously, this is a very simplistic version of an aquifer, and so maybe you guys want to take it a step further, find more layers that are actually in the aquifer. I know the EPA has really great resources of more activities for aquifer learning, so if this really spurs them on, that's a great place to go next. But I hope you guys find this to be a fun and tasty activity to do at home with your kiddos. Thanks, y'all.